Yeah, did you go live? And we're live. Hit that shit. You can turn off the hear myself thing.
Welcome to the Detox Podcast. Yeah. Welcome to the Detox Podcast. Yeah.
We are here, episode 108. Let me get my phone all connected up here. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. Going to be talking about a couple of different topics. It's going to be probably a quicker episode today. But first off, just want to say thank you to everybody who's tunes in every single week. You guys are everything. I also want to say shout out to everybody who's been listening to. I know I've been a guest on a couple of podcasts recently. I think we're at like 7 this year. One of them hasn't come out yet. But we're gonna get into all that in a minute. Before I can get to everything, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it seems as if we're able to do more and more from home. So while you're at home, why aren't you saving money on your car insurance? Your hometown agency, Kenosha Auto Insurance, has specialized for years in simple, hassle-free car insurance using the latest in touch-free technology to help you and your family get the best rates. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call today, 262-448-4141. That's 448-4141. And the website is kenoshains.com. It's actually linked down in the description as well as on the screen right now. And one last time, that's 262-448-4141. Give them a call. Tell them D-Rita Detox sent you. The worst that could happen is you will get the best rates. So with all that out of the way, I had a show planned for my guest. Unfortunate series of events, not going to be here today. So instead, we're gonna McKenna's on soundboard today. She's mic'd up. Her mic wasn't working last week. I was working all day today to fix it. Okay, you can talk over me too.
Hello.
Did it work? Okay, there you go. So she's here. If you hear a disembodied voice, it's her. It's McKenna in the studio. Soon we'll have a camera maybe for McKenna as well. I could probably set that up, but I didn't. But if you're listening over on Spotify, I guess that wouldn't affect you either. But like I said before the intro and before the ad read and everything, I've been a podcast guest on a few podcasts recently, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying to be on that side of things. I will say it is difficult to not. I don't want to like completely talk about podcasting on a podcast, if that makes sense. So I've worked pretty hard to try and steer the conversations towards like meaningful topics that people can get a lot of value out of, as opposed to just like, man, because there's always that beginning of, what do you do? How did you start doing that? Because I mean, I do the same thing when I have people on. So I get that, and I try to give you guys some value. So I try to talk about different things when I'm on people's shows, because I know some of the same stories come up, at least in that intro part. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, all my supporters that are going and checking out these other people, because I think they're all great people, and I'm super appreciative of them having me on their show. So that's really cool. Recently, it was the Tyron Lee podcast was the one that's most recent, and then there's some other ones coming out as well. But we're here. We've done it. We're here, 108 episodes. People said we wouldn't be able to do it. We did it. Kevin Klitzka says hello in the live chat. What's going on, Kevin? Kevin does not want to check his email because I emailed him some important stuff recently. Resent it to him because he said he didn't get it. But what's going on, Kev? It's good to hear from you. So that aside, I am a little stressed out just because of the whole, show being switched up on me last second. Not, life happens. Not nearly as bad as a situation we had earlier this month where I think I explained pretty thoroughly, actually, if you follow me over on Patreon, which is if you want to support me on Patreon, it's linked down below, patreon.com/DarrenRita. For as little as $1 a month. Shameless plug. I actually have another podcast over there called An Angry Letter, where I basically just vent or rant about a specific topic every week. And the first episode happened to be lined up with the first week of this month, where if you've been following the show and the channel, you know that I had a somewhat of an interesting situation happen that first week. So I talked about that a little bit more at length on that podcast, but this is nowhere near that, so no ill will of any sort towards my guest today. But I do want to say, the world is a little crazy, man. People are trying to cancel Jack Harlow. Now, I don't really care about. I'm not. You guys heard me talk before on this podcast about cancel culture, on like the being against its side of things, and then the also being critical of the people who are just like, man, everything is cancel culture. This is like people that can't take any criticism, and they just chalk that up to cancel culture. You've heard me talk about both sides. I feel like I have a pretty grounded opinion on that, but again, I'm probably biased. It's my opinion. But so if you don't know, Lil Nas X is, probably one of the most talented artists out right now, in my opinion, and he is also equally talented in the marketing department. Earlier this year, he released his song "Call Me by," what is it? "Call Me." It's called Montero. "Call Me by Your Name." Yeah. And so he did the whole rollout with the Devil shoe. We talked about that back when we had Kino Kicks on. He had the rollout with the Devil shoe that got some controversy. Nike tried to sue him. We actually don't know. I don't know how that's going currently, but basically just the whole music video and the whole treatment caused a lot of outrage, caused people to talk about it, caused people to care, and because of that, he's seen, and as well as having a great song, he's seen tremendous success, and that song actually hit #1, and I believe that this song is gonna actually hit #1 as well. Finally, plug-in Huntoro, what's up, dog? So he's been doing some crazy shit, and he understands how to get people talking about what he's doing. So with those lawsuits, we kind of hadn't heard much from him for a minute. He then released this little snippet trailer for this new song that just came out on Friday, this previous Friday, called "Industry Baby," featuring Jack Harlow, and he basically in this song is kind of talking his shit, having fun, but the music video that followed it and the teaser that came out even before that was a court scene of him being kind of probed with questions from the other attorney about him being sued by Nike, and instead of asking him anything about the shoes or anything like that, they're asking him like if he's gay, and like that, because that's kind of where a lot of this outrage stems from in his eyes, and I kind of agree with him, and so he gets sentenced to jail time. Montero State Prison. Montero is Lil Nas X's name. Then the music video takes place. Jack Harlow's in this music video. There's a lot of gay men dancing naked, right? And I think first off, I thought the music video was dope. I just think like all around the treatment is fantastic. And Jack Harlow for his scene then comes in, and he has a girl with him, and he's slapping her ass and doing things of that nature. And people were extremely upset, saying that like, wow, he had to do everything he could to distance himself from the rest of the gay stuff going on in this music video, and saying that it was almost homophobic of him to be in it at all if he wasn't going to embrace it, sort of thing. And Jack then responded with a tweet saying, or it was a tweet or Instagram caption basically saying that Nas wrote the whole treatment for the music video, wrote the whole script and story, and he said if Nas wanted him in that shower scene, he would have been in the shower scene. I can't speak. And I agree with him. I don't see an issue with and so that was his response. And Lil Nas X, jokingly, as a troll that he is, was like, "Wait, really? OMG, I failed the LGBTQ plus community. I'm sorry, guys." And they were just joking about it. And they just did an interview with Genius that came out today, so they're all good and they're cool there. But I just think it's interesting that people we're on both sides of the spectrum here. We're picking this story up and trying to make it something it wasn't, where you had this group of people trying to say that Jack Harlow is being homophobic for not being in these scenes, and then Jack Harlow immediately responding to that and saying, I would have done whatever and anything in this music video. I wouldn't have, like, basically, especially when I was listening to the interview him and Nas X did, he basically says like he fucks with everything Lil Nas X is doing. He really like just enjoys his kind of everything he stands for, and that's why he wanted to work with him in the first place. And they were talking prior to, like, they were kind of talking back and forth over social media prior to this collaboration, which I think is pretty cool. And I don't see an issue with him not being in those scenes if it doesn't make sense for him to be in that scene necessarily. If Lil Nas X is wanting to show a gay shower scene, then why would you insert a straight guy into that? It doesn't really make sense. But I give props to everybody involved. The music video turned out great, and I think if you're really upset at Jack Harlow for not being in that scene, or you're upset that Lil Nas X is making a music video with that kind of stuff going on, then if you're mad about the Lil Nas X making a music video about that, then you're just homophobic. Because, I mean, if this was a regular rapper's music video and there was a bunch of chicks behind him, I don't think he would be keeping that same energy. And then again, if you're mad that Jack Harlow wasn't in those specific scenes that were a little bit more explicit, I think you're a cornball and you're a weirdo, and you need to just probably find something else to do. But the song is a fucking banger, slaps. Like, in my opinion, I don't think Lil Nas X has missed yet. I don't know. Am I off on this, McKenna? Am I completely off? No.
No, but how do you? So like, I don't think people were really upset that he wasn't in the shower scene, but more of the fact that he brought in a girl in his scene.
So. Two
okay,
things.
but he
wasn't like, Nas, this is a really gay video. Like, people are taking it as like Jack Harlow was like, man, this video is really gay. I need something to make sure everyone knows I'm not gay.
That's just what I initially thought too. Like, oh, why is it?
Well, the
like,
thing
did he
is,
really need to bring a girl in?
The thing is,
but then when he explained it, I'm like, okay, like that's what Lil Nas X wanted.
Well, and I think this, we don't have a lot. There's not a lot of openly gay rappers.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not used to. I think people just aren't used to what happens in rap. Dudes talk about that kind of stuff, all the sexual stuff all the time. Men and women talk about sexual things. Nicki Minaj talking about dudes eating her ass like a cupcake. Drake's talking about whatever. I mean, this is what everybody talks about, stuff like that. So we get a gay guy talking about. That's what he's talking about in the first verse. He explains how he's like, I don't fuck bitches. I am queer. Like, so. He's talking about it in his verse. Jack Harlow is then talking about what he does in his verse. So I don't really see like the issue. And I think like maybe if that was people's initial opinion, I think that upon like a second listen, you'd be like, or listening to any other hip hop, you'd be like, yeah, never mind. That's kind of a weird thing to get mad about, because they're both just living their truth. So I don't know. I'm not really upset about it. You guys let me know in the comments if you're upset about it. We can have a disagreement here. But other than that, what else has been going on in the world? I think Lil Nas X is a genius. We'll close that out. The Olympics is going on. I just read a little bit on the how do you say her name? The like girl who's like the best in the world at Olympic on our USA.
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles. Okay, it's Biles. I wasn't sure how you say it.
I think it's Biles.
She apparently, I don't know all of the facts on this because I was just reading up on it right before we went live, and I wasn't planning on really talking about this specifically, but she apparently was not awarded the correct number, like a fair number of points. Like the judges deducted points from that they should have given her to her score because she apparently did something. Did she make a new move up again? Is that what happened? I don't know. Like, they said that they didn't want other contestants to try and do what she did, so they gave her less points than they would normally.
Yeah, so I read, like in gymnastics, you get scored based off of the difficulty and then how you execute it. So like all of her difficulties were higher than everyone else's. All of her execution was even with them or better, but it was still they still like weren't scoring her properly. And I read that it was either because they wanted like to keep athletes safe or just so it wasn't like a landslide. Like they just wanted to keep it like interesting.
So but did they come out, because that's the article I was reading was like kind of didn't really say one way or the other if like the actual like committee had come forth and said that. I read another snippet that said that they came forth and said that it was something to protect athletes.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually said anything, but I know like the New York Times, they're the ones who said for the safety reasons.
I just want to make sure like before, because I mean if that's legit, I think that's really stupid. But I just want to like make sure like before, we jump on whatever bandwagon.
I know.
You know, that it's like, did they actually come out and say we did this because of this, or is this just like the USA being like, you know, they she did such crazy shit that they just don't want to give it, you know, because athletes do that, and people that are fans do that. I know, you know, it's the same thing as a basketball player where it's like, oh, so and so just doesn't want to give me my credit. They just don't want to give me what I deserve. So I don't know that, but if that's true, if they really are doing this, and maybe we can find something by the end of the show, and we'll talk about it again later. If they really did something like that, where they are purposefully scoring her less than they should be, just to keep it entertaining or just to protect other people, that has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And who is on this committee? Like, who decides this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know.
That would be pretty pathetic, especially in like a world stage. You know, I don't know. That seems kind of ridiculous to me if that's really what's going on. Now, I was going to talk. This was something I wanted to talk about with my guest this week, but because I've been kind of holding out for it, talking about it for him specifically. But it is getting older now, so I want to talk about it for a minute. Bo Burnham's Inside is fantastic. If you have not yet seen it, you probably have seen it. If you're a viewer of this podcast, you're probably of the age demographic that would go check that out. And I wanted to talk about it when it came out, and I watched it, but I figured I knew who I had this week, and I wanted to talk to him about it specifically. But dude, it is like front to back fantastic. Bo Burnham is insane. He is. It's not as where people. I think like a lot of people that I've heard, like the only negative criticism of it I've heard is that it's not funny to people. Like some people said it wasn't as funny as they thought it was going to be. And I do agree with you somewhat that it isn't as funny as a normal Bo Burnham like funny wise. I think it's just like a million times like smarter, where it's like it's not like it's not funny. It is just like pointing out and picking apart kind of the systems that we kind of have in place in the world right now. Whether that's through social media, through actual political ideologies, or kind of dealing with even some more social, like human-to-human things going on. I just thought it was the commentary on it is so smart, and I think the like purposefully comedic portions are like that much funnier for it. And I think the way that he shot it all in a room and did everything on his own is for me super like admirable and inspirational. Like I don't think I was listening to the Tiny Meat Gang podcast, not to quote a podcast on a podcast, but Cody basically said something on there to the effect of, it was almost, when you're watching it as like someone who wants to do creative endeavors and is a creator, and for even someone like Cody to say it, he said that it almost made him like deterred him from wanting to make anything. He's like, I don't think I'll ever be able to make something that good. And I definitely felt that as well watching that. I'm like, holy shit, like that is the bar, you know, that is insane for one guy to do on his own. I mean, he had tons of crazy awesome equipment, but being in one room, and you kind of see him slowly as his hair gets longer and his beard gets longer, as he's in that room longer, you kind of see him lose it a little bit more and more. But I think especially the songs on the latter half of the project are just fantastic. So if you haven't seen Inside from Bo Burnham on Netflix, you should watch it. I think he's showing it in theaters now too. McKenna, did you have something for us? It looked like you found something.
Yeah, so I just read that so with the 2 scores of difficulty and then how you execute it,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't giving her the proper difficulty score. So like she's done a similar move that's easier, and they've given her like the same score for the easier move and the more difficult move.
So is this like conjecture, like this is someone's opinion, is that this is like what's happening, or like did they say like is this like truly like she is getting like ripped off and the Olympics know they're ripping her off, or is this like we think in our opinion she should be winning and she's not winning? That's just what I'm trying to understand.
I think it's like an opinion. Like obviously if she's done an easier move and it's been scored a 6 or whatever,
Yeah.
and then she does a harder move and it's also a 6.
Yeah.
Like something is up there.
Yeah, that is interesting. And how would anybody be ahead of her? I mean, I guess it's the team, right?
Yeah.
It's just the team, so
yeah,
not her like, individually. It's the team that's losing
Yeah,
right now, or
yeah.
in second.
Yeah.
Not losing.
They're
losing.
in second, yeah.
Yeah. I was curious, how many teams are like competing in each individual sport? Is it like, how many countries compete in the Olympics? I maybe I'm stupid for not knowing that, but I was kind of unsure.
I'll look it up.
Okay, McKenna's on it. How do they decide like who gets to host the Olympics too? Because I know it's like a really big deal when it's chosen, like when they decide on where, because of like what it does for the economy and stuff like that. That's what. Speaking of, so the Bucks won the. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, there's 206 countries.
206
in,
countries compete.
This Olympics right now
That's
in
crazy.
Tokyo.
That is crazy.
Mhm.
But speaking of like the economy, like what like sports does for like the economy, we went to Milwaukee for the Game 6 closeout that the Bucks ended up winning the finals in. And shout out to the Bucks. They, it's crazy, and I'm very happy for everybody, all my Bucks friends and viewers. Like, shout out to you guys. It's awesome. But the city of Milwaukee, man, what the
Bucks.
what the hell is going on, dude? Like, I know there's this joke that like Stephen A. said that like Milwaukee is like a terrible city or something, and I'm not gonna go as far to say that, but dude, like, I don't know who did the planning for this Deer District shit, but like they were, to my knowledge, they were allowing 30 to 35,000 people for the run of the playoffs. That's how many people they were allowing in this Deer District thing. And in case you don't know what Deer District is, it's basically this like chunk of the city right outside of the stadium that they allowed people to like come and watch the game on a big thing. It's free. You come in. There's food and stuff there.
There's food and drinks, yeah.
But you come in for free, and like the whole city can just come and watch the game, right? Which is really cool for people that want to do that. They can't go to the game and stuff like that. But they were allowing 30 to 35,000 people in for the run of the playoffs. And then this Game 6 is coming around, and they announced like the day before that we're going to allow 65,000 people. Cool, right? That's awesome. That's going to be great. You're going to get way more people because it's a closeout game here in Milwaukee. Like, this will be huge if they get this. But you'd also think that you would open up more space to a company more than, double or more than double what you've been seeing. And they did not. They did not do that. So it was...
It's basically like a giant mosh pit.
It was but like not even like
we were getting pushed and shoved.
Shoved, arms getting twisted.
Friend
like
got hit in the head.
So yeah, so that's the thing. I talked about this a little bit when I was doing the live build on Friday. When we were up in Milwaukee, it took us like, we got there an hour and a half before the game, and we did not get to, our friends that we're meeting were not even like maybe a little over a quarter of the way through like the crowd, because there's a screen that we're trying to watch the game on that we could not see at all, and we were just kind of trying to make our way up there, and by the time we got to where our friends were, the game had already started. So like we were there an hour and a half beforehand, and then the game had started by the time we were able to make it like I don't even know, like 200 feet, like if that. And so we make it to them, and like it was such a terrible thing, but also such a funny ass thing where I lock eyes with our friends that we're meeting with. I'm like, okay, there they are, smiling, happy, whatever. Then like another 5 minutes goes by while we get there, and then we like get to them, and I like literally like am like this and look up, and my friend is now in tears, and my friend next to her is also visibly upset, and I'm like, what's going on? And literally there was this guy who got on a light pole, and people start throwing shit at him to get him down, and somebody threw like a big fat ass vape, and it smoked her right in the head. Just like that. And it was like, I didn't even know what I was just like, I remember like I saw her and she's crying, and I'm like, like I just got like through a war. I was wearing white shoes. They're trashed because just got absolutely ruined, and just been through a war. And I like look up and she's in tears. I'm like, what's happening now? Like, what else is going on? And then we find out that that's what happened. So then we're like, okay, this is like, I already wasn't wanting to deal with this the rest of the time. And then, she gets hit and I'm like, dude, this is not it. Like, this is just not the move right now.
Yeah, we
So,
couldn't even see a screen. We couldn't get food. We couldn't get drinks.
yeah, couldn't see.
She was crying. We're like, we gotta dip.
Dude, I mean, I was almost crying.
It was
like,
not fun,
It
yeah.
was, I was almost in tears too. It was like, what the fuck is going on, dude? I can't see anything, can't move, and some dude like. Some kid was getting like wheelchaired out on our way in, like through the crowd, like from a medical emergency. Like he did not look well. And then so this other guy behind us at one point, before we had met up with our friends, was like trying to like he was one of those people that really, really thought he was the main character. I mean, damn near everybody at this fucking Deer District thought that this shit was about them.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Exactly. It just was like, this dude thought like for some reason that he was the one who was going to get through this whole fucking crowd, get to the front and see it, like see what was going on no matter what. And he wasn't that guy. Like you just heard, he was not that guy, because I can hear him, like he's feet and feet away from us. And I can like kind of hear him in the distance, like saying shit. Like he's like, oh, I gotta get up here, like trying to make excuses to other people to like he was just coming up with a different lie every like 10 feet, and I could just hear him getting closer and closer and closer. By the time he got up to us, he saw that medical shit happen, and he's like, oh, I got a great idea. And he tries to fake a medical emergency. He's like, oh, yo, we got a medical, just grabs the dude next to him, and he's like, I got a medical emergency right here, I gotta get out, so that he could get like escorted up to where this gate was, and then hopefully he was trying to get over the gate to the other side. And so he does that successfully somewhat, where the security guards come and get him and bring him and this other guy up there. And then they ask the guy, what's wrong? Are you okay? And the guy's like, I don't even know who this dude is. So then they kick that guy out who thought he was going to fake a medical emergency. Just weird. So we're getting out. We're trying to leave. And that was the other issue, is that they only had, they didn't have like a means of egress and ingress. Like it was just you were able to come in. You want to leave? Fuck you. You're not leaving. Like, they had people blocked off at the border because apparently they had hit capacity, which I don't think they were keeping track of. We're trying to get out, and people are like still trying to like move upstream into us. So like they didn't even have like a path to leave. And people started chanting, "Let us out," and it was just weird. Not a great experience at the Deer District. Awesome that the Bucks won. Super happy for him. Giannis especially. But then we tried to get food, because we're like, we should sit down somewhere and watch the game and get some food. And there's like a couple restaurants right by the stadium. Those are all slammed, so like good for them. Great business. I'm happy for them. Nowhere else in the city of Milwaukee was fucking open or showing the game. We walked like, I don't even know how far we walked, but we ended up like walking like all the way to 3rd Ward, which is what, like a half mile, another mile. Yeah, half mile. After we had like kind of meandered the other direction about a half mile, and so then we kind of doubled back to the 3rd Ward, and there was 2 restaurants open, and both of them were not. They were closing at 10, and they're like, we're not showing the whole game. I'm like, so you're gonna kick these people out? Like, what are you gonna do at the 3rd quarter? You're gonna kick everybody out? They're like. Really stupid.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was not fun. So the group I was with, we end up driving home, because we're like, fuck this. So we're like, we're going to go home. Maybe we'll get B-dubs. And there's Kenosha is a town not too far from us. It's on the way back from Milwaukee. We're like, we'll stop in Kenosha at B-dubs. B-dubs will be open. It's a chain. They're open till midnight. We got there at what time did we get there? At 10?
9:45.
Yeah. So we got there like 9:45 then, and we're like, and we walk up to the door, and I checked the hours to be safe. I was like pulling up on maps, like checking, didn't say anything, and we pull up, and they got a sign on the door that says we close at 10. And
it
today.
said like, we're closing early today. We're closing at 10.
Yeah, and there's like all these people in there just getting to hang out, enjoy the game, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I was not meant to see the Bucks win. I didn't get to watch the game.
We didn't watch a minute of it.
I didn't watch a single second of the game. We ended up listening the last like 5 minutes in the car
At
in the Taco
Bell.
Bell's parking lot, because that's what we ended up settling on. So to the city of Milwaukee, what the fuck is going on? What are you guys doing? Happy for you that you won the championship. Big moves there. Hopefully, here's to another one. But let's open so at least get some more space in the Deer District for next year, because holy fuck. Other than that, what did I want to talk about? There was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh man, I want to talk about this with my guest this week, but it was the issue. There's been this thing going around with gambling streams on Twitch, where these Twitch streamers are being paid like literal millions of dollars to play like as a brand deal to play a certain gambling site, like a game, and kind of they're basically promoting that to their fan because they have an affiliate code, and they get a certain percentage of the winnings of the people that join that, and things like that, and there's been a pretty big scandal going on with that. So I'm wanted to have the conversation with my guest this week. So since I can't do that, I'm not going to get fully into that, and maybe I'll do some more research myself, and maybe that'll be a commentary video that comes out later this week, or the following week, because this shit's getting pretty bad. But other than that, I want to say thank you to everybody who kind of tuned in live. I know we didn't have a guest today. I'm sorry about that. It's a shorter episode, but I don't want to give you guys bullshit. So I would rather just talk about what I want to talk about, what I'm confident in speaking about, and then let you guys get on with your night or with your day if you're listening this days after, or watching this days, years, and months after, whatever. So with all that being said, I want to also thank Kenosha Auto Insurance for sponsoring this episode, and our patrons for supporting us over on Patreon. If you're interested and you want to see stuff like how I was just ranting there about Milwaukee, I got a podcast series called An Angry Letter that's exclusively on Patreon, as well as a series that I post every single week, which is How I Made It, where I break down how I make every single one of my songs that I've ever made. And then we've also got some other really cool stuff over there that you should check out. You can join for as little as $1. So if you're interested, it's Darren Rita, or patreon.com/Darren Rita to do that. So thank you to them. Thank you to you. Thanks to McKenna for being here. And we'll see you guys in next week's episode. This has been the 108th episode of the Detox Podcast.